How many of you know a young couple to get married? This could be family or friends. They might be high school sweethearts or in love, but if they are younger than age 25, they are probably going to end up getting a divorce. In today's society, marriage is too easy to get out of. Back during the 1950s, the divorce rate was really low. Typically, as my grandparents put it, who got married at 18 and age 23, if you were married back then, you worked through things. Now, if you have a problem, typically, you can just go file for divorce, whatever it may be. Along with divorce is a nasty legal battle on your hands. Typically, in these situations, the men get the worst end of the deal. Couples who marry before the age of 25 have the highest divorce rate in the United States. The divorce rate for men and women before age 20 is at 40%. This means that 40% of marriages which are people who are married before age 20, typically end before age 20. That's a high number. If you make it past age 20, it doesn't get any better. I would say the majority of these couples, though, rush into things. They have probably not lived together for more than 2 years, considering the fact that if you were in high school, that you live with your parents until age 18. So you may live with your significant other for a year or two after that. And I would say the lack of knowing each other and the maturity level needed to succeed in marriage is lacking when these couples get married. Most people do not even know what they want to do with their lives at age 19, much less, who they want to spend the rest of their lives with. Your mind's going to change so many different times throughout college. Typically, on the third year, you've already figured out something else you might want to do and changed your major a few times. So, how can they know who they want to be with for the rest of their life when they don't even know a career path they will probably choose? And that can take you so many different areas. The divorce rate for couples at age 20 to 24 is at 76%. This means 3 out of every 4 marriages that happen before age 25 typically end up in divorce. This number is way too high. The U.S. yearly average has typically hovered around 50% since the 60s. Marriages have gone up, but so has divorce rates. So it's just typically floating around 50%. These young couples are driving that percentage up because their marriages don't last. Then these couples have to go into a legal battle of possessions. You do not want to agree on anything with your spouse prior to consulting a legal professional, on splitting, your possessions. Typically, the men get less than half of the stuff during the divorce. All your possessions, you have pensions, anything else that you've had since marriage is typically called a community property. And that means even if you have paid for 90% of everything and 90% of the stuff you personally have paid for, 50% is already your spouse's. And I've seen divorces get nasty. Some will take things that they will never use or have any use for, just so that the significant other can't have them. It just gets greedy, and it's not something you want to be a part of, and it's ridiculously ugly of the person's personality to do that. This is not right, and I would like to see divorces and instances of this happening, come to a complete halt. And I know that's hard to say, but you can definitely cut this number down by at least 25-30%. I propose that if you want to get married, then you should have to have proof of living with someone for 5 years and report that annually to the court system. You can do it, you got to renew your tags every year and stuff to the court system. You can send in that also. And you just need to present proof. Maybe I say a joint bank account, which doesn't really prove. You just need to have proof of some way of checking it to prove that y'all have lived together for 5 consecutive years. This would drastically reduce marriages at a young age and prevent marriages with no substance happening. A lot of people rush into things because it's a high school sweetheart or puppy love, and the facade wears off. The true test is time. Um, 5 years is definitely a very short time to live with someone, especially if you're considering spending the rest of your life with them. Um, Too many young couples rush into this prematurely, and they develop different wants and needs throughout, growing up and maturing, and they can go a completely different way. And um, if you're married to that person, then chances are they want different things. You're probably gonna want different things. Probably won't end up happening. Um, the marriage probably won't work out. I just think that this will drastically cut back on the divorce rate in America, which is the sixth highest in the world. And if you have to have proof of living with someone for 5 years, it should definitely cut that back, and it will produce better marriages. And this would even apply for people who, are older, who are venturing back out there. Because the divorce rate for people who are married, second and third times, it gets higher as the second time. 50% of marriages end the first divorce. Your first marriage ends 50% of the time in divorce. Second is 60 something percent, and third is 73%. So this will definitely cut back on that.